The reason this intro is outside is today the weatherman had forecasted cloudy, 60% chance of rain. At least so far, I don't know what's happened, but it's a beautiful day outside right now. Hey everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. When I did the last video, I had a request. I talked about doing some data cables, which I'm going to do inside the train room today. And guys wanted to know how to do it, or how to make them. So we're going to go in how to make them, and let's get started. Okay, to get started with, let me go through what you'll need. You'll need some wire, like this spool up here. I don't know what the smallest quantity you can buy is, and for the Digitrack system, and I don't know about other systems, but all the data cables that I've seen on systems so far have been 6 wires. If you need a 4 wire, the technique is the same, just that there's 4 wires in the cable instead of 6. And then you will also need crimping tool. This is a crimping and cutting tool. The only reason I keep this one is it has a depth gauge cutter in it, which I think is handy, but it crimps too hard, I feel like. And not only that, this is a 4-wire connector. I have one here that I think I bought, and I don't know where I bought that black one, but I think I bought this one at Radio Shack years ago. It also has a depth cutter, and it's a very similar one to the black one, only a lot cheaper plastic. I probably paid 10 bucks for this one. The black one, I don't even remember where I got it, so it's hard for me to tell you. I know this one's about $40 or $50, and the only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't have a depth gauge. It has a cutter to cut the cable off, but it does not have a depth gauge stripper, is what I meant to say. The black one has a cutter stripper and depth gauge. So I keep this one to do the stripping with. On top of that, what you need is you need some connectors. These are 6-pin. You can buy them at Home Depot or whatever. Packages, I don't know how many. I buy these bulk in 100. I don't even know where I got these. But nevertheless, it's kind of an expensive proposition to get set up to make data cables. That's why normally most people buy them. We make them at the shop. I make them for the shop in any length you want off of that spool up there. But I'll get into how to make it. But by the time you buy that spool for around $100, 1,000 feet, and by the time you buy the tool for about 50, 60 bucks, for one that's got a stripper and a crimper, it's just too expensive just to make a few data cables, but we'll go into it anyways. So let's get started. Okay guys, in my room I'm gonna need I need a 12-footer and a 15-footer. On the website we make them in 10, 15, and multiples of 5, up to whatever you want. But I'm going to make a 15 and a 13, or maybe I might just make 2 15s. But anyway, the way I start is rolling off the cable. And I have to be gentle pulling this cable because I've had it fall off this reel before. But I'm going to pull a bunch off on the ground here. And then on my workbench here, and I'm sure you can't see it, but I have a marking here at 5 feet from the end of the workbench. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 5, fold it in half, 10, fold it in half, 15 feet. Helps to have a good pair of snips. In the phone world, these are snips. In the real world, these are scissors. So now I've got a 15-foot cable. Let me get another one. Let's see here. 5, 10, 15. This one I'm going to give myself a little extra because I'm not real sure about the 15-foot length on the one. So I'm giving an extra foot or two. So I have one that's a little over 15. You can obviously make them any length you want to. They're 6 conductor. Let me see if I can get up here so you can see the end. I don't know if this is going to focus. There it focused. You can see that it is 6 conductors. And what you always want to do is make sure you have a clean cut, because you don't, these wires that are in there are braided. So you don't want to stranded, but you don't want to cut that so something dull where you have one touching another one. You don't want any contaminant in there that's going to touch from pin to pin, or you're going to have nothing but trouble with the data cable. So let's get into stripping this. Okay, what you want to make sure of is that you have a square cut here. I can stick it in here. Well, not in that one. In fact, I can stick it in this one. I hardly ever use this to cut with, but I can stick it in my tool, make a nice square cut, okay? Then what I'm going to do is, since this one has a depth gauge here, between that and the back there, I'm going to stick it in there till it bottoms out, crimp all the way down on it, and pull. And this is what I wind up with, a nicely stripped end. Then what you're going to want to do, and I always make it a habit, the plug has a pin on the top that retains it in the jack. I put the blue wire always on the left hand side looking down from the top. So you put it on like so. Make sure it's seated all the way down in. Then to put it in the tool, I have to turn it upside down, stick it in the tool until it bottoms, and then put pressure on it with my left hand and crimp. I always crimp twice just to make sure I have it. And then recheck your work. Let me put it up here where I can see it. Recheck your work, and you might want to look at the ends just to be sure you don't have any loose wire hanging across the end there. Now, if you notice, I have the blue on the left and I have the writing on top of the cable. When I go to the other end of the cable, and this really isn't rocket science, guys, okay? I don't know why people seem to get this confused all the time. But I'm going to cut this one off straight. I'm going to get my stripper. I'm going to run it in all the way. Crimp down on it. Pull. Now you can see that I have another, now you can see that I have another stripped end. Now, you'll notice at the other end the writing is on top, but the blue's on the opposite side. So what we're going to do is flip it over. Same scenario. I have the pin of the connector on the top and blue on the left. Because actually now, if you look at it, it's upside down. It's reversed, okay? But you always want the blue in the same orientation on the jack and the plug when you make the cable. Same scenario, stick it in the tool, give it one little crimp, move my hand down on the machine, make sure it's crimped tightly, and pull it out of the machine, and there you have a data cable. Both pins are matching, however, as you see, got writing on one side. If I flip this one over, the orientation of pins is opposite on the other end, and that's what you want. And that's really about all there is to making a data cable. Let's go inside and see if it works. Okay, since my panel is underneath here, when I say here, you guys remember the glass shelf. You remember my duplex radio panel here, the UR92. Then I have a UP5 here. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiple off of the other jack on the back of the UP5. This is on a Digitrack system, obviously. The pin of the connector goes up. Click it in. Now what we're going to do, oh gosh, I'm tech to get old. We're going to go over here. And here is my other UP5 panel. And let's see here if I can focus. There is my cord laying on the ground for right now. And we're going to do the same thing here, only it's going to be dark. Now we're going to plug in the other end of our cord into the other UP5 panel over here on the other side of the layout. And let's get our throttle and see if it works. Okay, you can see that our DT402 is not connected to anything. I'm going to plug it in. And there we go. And here's the cord hanging down, and there's the UP5 panel that we just took the data cable to. So obviously that data cable is good. We don't have any malfunctions. We have the last locomotive ran out here, and that's what we should have. Okay. Okay, now we're over at the other panel, the other UP5 panel I put in. I have my cable, as the other one, temporarily laying on the floor and tied to the other side of the UR92 panel in there, which is another vacant jack. Each one of these panels has two jacks in the back, one for incoming and one for outgoing, so you can chain them together. So anyway, let's plug it in and see what we get. The throttle comes right up, which means that it's good. If it wasn't good, we'd probably get a short on the system or some kind of indication, some kind of beeping. Maybe the throttle wouldn't work. I don't know. It's pretty easy to make these cables. It's just the amount of dollars it takes to set up to make them. But I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, everybody, that's it in a nutshell. I came outside to do the ending video as well because it's so nice out here. I can't believe the forecast that they gave us yesterday. I was expecting gloom and doom and inside the house all day. But anyways, so much for the weather. Anyway, as usual, guys, thanks for watching.